Bruce Feiler. The Search. Finding meaningful work in a post-career world. These days, more and more people are taking control of their working lives, and that often means walking away from their jobs without having the next one ready to go. An unprecedented 1 million people have been leaving their jobs in the U.S. alone, and that's every week. The quit rate, the monthly total of people leaving their jobs, has been steadily climbing. Now, almost 1/3 quit their jobs every year, and 1/3 redesign their jobs to pursue other interests or have more family time. Times are changing. People don't just want a job, they want a job with meaning. You too can take advantage of this new work environment, and hey, even get the happiness you so richly deserve. But how exactly? Well, that's where this blink comes in. First, you need to revisit what you believe about work. Second, you need to look back and chase your own dream. And third, you need to take control and develop your unique work story. Ready to make your story a success? Then let's dive right in. 3 little lies about work. So the first thing we need to do is dispel some illusions you have about work. Let's call them what they are: lies. Lie 1. I have a career. For millennia, work hasn't been viewed favorably. Even in the Garden of Eden, work was simply a punishment for disobeying God. In many languages, the root of the word for work carries negative connotations. In French and Spanish, for example, travail and trabajo, respectively, are rooted in the Latin for torture. But by the beginning of the 16th century, many people had gained more control over their lives. Numeracy and literacy improved. Agriculture gave way to industry, and a new word emerged: the career. In the early 1900s, Frank Parsons, who'd never held down one job for particularly long, opened an office to assist others in making good career choices. His approach gained popularity, leading to the widespread adoption of a visual representation of a person's career, the resume. Soon, employers started requesting resumes from prospective employees. This linear approach to work has been detrimental. Deviating from your career path or spending too much or too little time in one job can be detrimental to your resume. Today's world of work is anything but linear. New technologies have emerged, causing shifts in work and required skills. It's become important not simply to concentrate on periods of stability, but also on periods of instability, when things go wrong, when you realize it's time for a change. To fully grasp this concept, the author Bruce Feiler has coined the term workquake. Lie 2. I have a path. So what does workquake mean? Feiler defines it as a moment of disruption, inflection, or revaluation that redirects our work in a meaningful way. There are many causes of workquakes, including taking a new job, going back to school, losing employment, the birth of a child, or, as witnessed in the last few years, even a pandemic. Although workquakes can be scary and destabilizing, they also present opportunities for growth, renewal, and self-reflection. They allow us to restory our lives. These disruptions are becoming more frequent and diverse, with long-reaching consequences. Feiler says that on average, individuals experience a workquake every 2 years and 10 months, and that women encounter them 22% more often than men. Effectively, this means none of us has a path anymore. It often means saying goodbye to advice like follow your dreams or pursue what brings you joy with determination. Feiler's research showed that only 38% of people were doing something that they dreamed of as a child or teenager, and only 12% were following their passion. So perhaps you need a plan to follow? Well, also no. While some people have a clear plan, they know they want to become a doctor, for example, most people's plans veer off course at some point due to unexpected encounters, events, or circumstances. Feiler refers to these as butterflies, drawing on the concept of the butterfly effect. In his interviews, he found that everyone who'd experienced an unexpected shift in their work could identify their butterfly, whether that was a person, an experience, or a thing. Feiler's advice is thus to follow your butterfly. Lie 3. I have a job. Virtually nobody has just one job these days, they have multiple jobs. Indeed, Filer's research revealed that the average person has 3.5 jobs. Many people use the word job broadly, encompassing not only paid work, but also anything that involves responsibility, such as serving on nonprofit boards or taking care of their children. Even if we exclude unpaid work, Filer found that 63% had more than one job. And then, of course, we also work on our relationships, parenting, social media, and our bodies. Every role is a job. Filer refers to this new way of defining work as Work 360. Within it, he says, there are 5 jobs everyone has. Let's start with your main job. What exactly is that? Is it your primary source of income, the activity that occupies most of your time, or maybe your primary source of meaning? Perhaps it's not even possible to say. Fewer than half of Americans now have what could be called a main job. Actually, only 39% do. Next, you might have a side job, often referred to as a side hustle, that provides more money, meaning future options, or a combination of those. It might act as a vehicle for becoming self-employed while you support yourself through your main job. Filer found that around 75% of people have at least one side job. The third type of job is the hope job. This is something you do in your spare time. Perhaps you write novels or sell homemade cookies, hoping that at some stage it will develop into something bigger. Incredibly, 89% of people have a hope job, ranging from writing a memoir, creating comic books, or making jewelry, to performing burlesque or starting a new business. Whatever it is, we're prepared to sacrifice our free time if such a job makes us happy. The fourth job type is the care job, involving caring for someone else, child, parent, or neighbor, for example. Such jobs rarely make money, but they provide us with meaning. Lastly, there are what Filer refers to as ghost jobs. These are often deeply personal and unsettling, resembling a job in their impact. Astoundingly, 93% of Filer's participants experienced inner battles that felt like jobs. Ghost jobs can involve workplace discrimination, such as racism or sexism, struggles with self-confidence, or financial worries. Everyone encounters such ghosts from time to time, and it is crucial that we acknowledge their existence rather than allowing people to suffer in silence. So now, we've covered 3 lies about work, but are there any truths? Well, there is one. There's only one truth about work. Work is changing, that much you know by now. We're facing increased instability and uncertainty, but at the same time, we also have more freedom, options, and opportunity. But who can help us navigate this new world of work? So here it is. It shouldn't come as any surprise. The one truth about work, you, and only you, can help yourself and provide the direction you need. And that's what we'll cover here. Stop to think for a moment about what work and success mean to you. Work is a delicate balance of time, effort, and money on one side, and meaning, purpose, and happiness on the other. Success, on the other hand, can be defined as how that balance aligns with your life in general. So does your work fulfill how you see yourself? Does it reflect your values and align with the values of your family, community, and country? These days, you don't need to conform to society's definition of success. Instead, you need to take charge of your own success story and define exactly what success means to you. How exactly? Well, here are 3 steps that can help you define it, collectively forming what Filer calls a meaning audit. The first step of your audit is to evaluate your past. Reflect on your initial thoughts about work. Were there dream jobs you didn't pursue? Did you abandon versions of yourself along the way? Think about what you've been told about work, money, and success. Bring to the surface any long-buried themes in your life. Many people discover their true vocation through some personal emotional exploration. Now on to the second step. Examine your present. Ask yourself what your priorities are. What matters to you right now? How does that differ from 2, 5, or 10 years ago? What is your primary focus? Is it you, the people you love, or your community? In a world where we can be who we want to be, do, live, and believe what we want, and are free to love as we want, we can find ourselves overwhelmed, paralyzed by the abundance of choices. No wonder, then, that when it comes to writing our own stories, we often experience writer's block. This is where the ABCs of meaning come into play. A for agency is what you do, make, or create, your autonomy, freedom, and mastery. B for belonging encompasses your relationships with family, friends, colleagues, and loved ones. And C for cause is your mission or purpose. These aspects are your I, we, and the parts of your story. Consider how much time you spend on these. Have they changed over time? What is important to you now? The final step is to create your future. Using the insights from steps 1 and 2, begin to construct your future. Of course, the process isn't easy, and you might not be in control of everything that comes. But if you want to find meaning in your work, don't fall into the trap of just updating your resume, applying for jobs, and doing interviews. Those steps come later, if at all. If you're not sure where your story is heading, you can start by asking yourself 6 fundamental questions, which we'll explore in the next section. Who, what, when, where, why, and how? For each of these questions, you need to ask yourself about your past, present, and future in a similar way to the meaning audit you just carried out. So let's go. Who? Who do you want to be? Begin by contemplating your past. What were the work-related values imparted by your parents? Were there any negative aspects they instilled in you? Then, think about who is the dominant who in your life right now. Is it your boss, spouse, parent, child, lover, or someone else? Perhaps you've encountered a transitional person who's entered your life at just the right moment and guided you. Finally, think about the kind of person you want to be. Try completing the sentence, I want to be the kind of person who. Learning to be your own who can be very fulfilling. What? Consider this as the plot of your story. What exactly is it that you want to do? Try completing the sentence, I want to do work that. To assist you, again reflect on your past, present, and future. Think about your role models from childhood. What aspects of their character did you admire? Was it their integrity, charisma, or something else? Next, think about your current work. What are the best and worst things about it right now? What emotions arise when you're working? Finally, in light of your answers, revisit that question of what it is you want to do. When? When is often something we neglect. Begin by asking yourself when your work story started. When did the energy first take hold? Perhaps it was as a child or as an adult, or perhaps you're still waiting. Whenever it was, it likely marked a break in time initiating a new chapter. Now think about the present. Is it the best time to take new steps? Should you plan first or follow your intuition, continue as you are, or take the plunge now? Finally, here's the next sentence to complete based on your observations so far. I'm at a moment in my life when. Remember, this isn't a forever answer. Things will change in the future too. Where? Here's your sentence for your where. I want to be in a place that. To help you answer, reflect first on where you most desired to be as a child. Was it home, the garden, in a forest, or somewhere else? What drew you to that place? Next, think about where you want to be right now. And finally, return to the statement about where you want to be in the future. This might lead you to think about moving from a place where you feel uncomfortable to a place where you can authentically be yourself. Why? Now it's time to reflect on your purpose. As always, begin by reflecting on the past. What recurring patterns of pain are there in your life? What childhood obsessions do you still have? Are there problems you've been trying to solve forever? Feiler found that answers to these questions mostly concentrated on 5 themes: injustice, helplessness, escape, identity, and money. Next, think about the kind of stories that resonate with you. These stories often shape the narrative of the stories you want to tell. Finally, complete this sentence to explore your why. My purpose right now is, what do you want it to be? How? How is the most practical of the questions. It's how you are going to make everything happen, or, as Feiler puts it, transitioning from once upon a time to happily ever after. First, consider the best work-related advice you ever received. Was someone able to help you? Who was that someone, and what wisdom did they share? Next, think about change. The most pressing question here is, how can you give yourself permission to change? However you go about it, It's essential to grant yourself that permission. And now here's your concluding statement. The best advice I have for myself is, the answer to this lies within you, waiting to be discovered. Write out all of your completed statements to see the draft of the next chapter in your work story. Build on it from there. You just listened to our Blink to the Search by Bruce Feiler. Let's finish this blink with a set of 4 rules for your future success. Rule 1. Dig for success. Follow your own script, which you'll find by digging deep into your memories and discovering those buried dreams. Rule 2. Success is collective, not individual. No one succeeds alone. So forget the idea of self-reliance and find your community. Rule 3. Find your success in meaning. Forget what anyone else thinks success means. What meaning do you ascribe to success? And finally, Rule 4. Your success is your story. It's what you want it to be, not a destination, but rather a narration with no fixed ending. Your story is a work in progress, and you own it.